Good afternoon. My name is Kevin Peters. I'm the Emergency Management Director for Leon County. This is our Friday afternoon Hurricane Irma update. As of 11 a.m. this morning, the National Hurricane Center says Hurricane Irma is a 150 mile per hour Category 4 hurricane. Over the last few days, Irma has devastated the islands of the northern Caribbean, and now Irma is expected to make landfall in South Florida on Sunday as a major hurricane. Nearly the entire state of Florida lies within Irma's forecast cone. Irma will continue moving northward throughout the state, turning west toward North Florida by Sunday night, maintaining hurricane strength as it drives northward. Our community is now at risk from Irma. The National Weather Service tells us we can expect sustained tropical storm force winds and gusts of nearly hurricane strength. These high winds are expected to begin on Sunday night and continue on through Monday. For more information on how the county is preparing, I'd like to introduce Chairman John Daly. He's the chairman of the Leon County Board of County Commissioners. Chairman.
Thank you. Good afternoon. We have a long agenda, so I will try to make my comments brief. My name is John Daly. I'm the chairman of the Leon County Commission. As you know, this entire week, our county and our partner agencies have been working hard to prepare for Hurricane Irma. On Tuesday, as chairman of the Board of County Commissioners, I declared a local state of emergency to help our community respond and recover. And as we have seen throughout the Caribbean, Hurricane Irma is a deadly and powerful storm. Now South Florida braces for dangerous storm surge and historic hurricane-force winds. These hurricane-force winds will move as far north as the Florida-Georgia border, putting us directly in the path as well. With hurricane-force winds forecasted to move north, our community has our own challenges to deal with, and we know what that means in our community. At this time, Leon County is issuing a voluntary evacuation for mobile and modular homes starting Saturday, tomorrow at 6 a.m. To assist those who will evacuate, we are opening shelters with the American Red Cross, and we will open more as needed. At this time, risk shelters are open or will be open by Saturday morning at Lawton Childs High School, Oak Ridge Elementary School, and Florida High School. Further information on timing will be posted on both Leon County and the City of Tallahassee's website. I also encourage those who can in our community to volunteer with the American Red Cross. They need volunteers to help staff their shelters, the mobile feeding stations, and so much more. Please consider volunteering if you can. The American Red Cross can be reached at 850-878-6080. Also, as we prepare for Hurricane Irma, we want to stress the importance of buying and using what you need. We are coordinating with the state and with retailers to make sure that we get the supplies we need, but we must all do our part and buy only what we need if shortages do occur. And while bottled water may be scarce at times, you can prepare drinking water in so many other ways. Before the worst of the storm arrives, please fill up your bathtubs, fill up containers full of water from the faucet. There are so many other ways to also prepare for water in time of crisis. So as we prepare for the worst Hurricane Irma has to offer, everyone must stay informed over the weekend. We have an excellent communication platform that the city and the county together have been updating in real time, and we continue to stay informed and be prepared. The county is ready, and we are focused, and we are prepared, and we're going to be prepared as a community. I now want to introduce Mayor Andrew Gillum of the City of Tallahassee.
Thank you, Chairman, and thank you to all of those who are joining us. I want to specifically acknowledge the entirety of the Tallahassee City Commission who have joined us, Mayor Pro Tem Ziffer, Commissioners Maddox, Richardson, and Miller. You'll be hearing in a moment some additional details and specifics from our city manager, who will be acknowledged in a few moments. Also want to acknowledge the strong partnership and collaboration that we've been able to pull together between our university partners, our human resources partners, our Council on Neighborhood Associations, our chamber represented here today by Sue Dick, obviously our Leon County schools, and our partners all across the community. We remain in continuous contact, and we continue to work together to make sure that the people of this community remain safe and prepared. Some of you may have already noticed that Tallahassee has become, in many ways, its own evacuation site. hosting visitors from across the state of Florida and anticipated impacted areas. We ask that you obviously extend a warm hand of courtesy to those individuals who are visiting our community. As the chairman already indicated, the Red Cross has sent out a call for additional volunteers to staff to man and support these emergency shelter facilities. We want to reiterate that call here today to get trained. They're offering trainings now 3 times a day up until the point that they're no longer able to offer them. We have called in our mutual aid agreement partners for our electric utility and preliminarily have made arrangements to dispatch several hundred workers to help us repair and restore utility issues that we may face. The city manager, Mr. Fernandez, will go into greater detail about those individuals, but we do expect them to be on the ready to assist us with any outages that our community might face. Right now, we continue to ask people to take this storm seriously. We, your organizations, your elected leadership organizations, and first responders are prepared, and we want to make sure that each of our residents are also prepared. We ask you to make sure that you have access to food and water for 3 days and stay connected with our social media sites, both at the City of Tallahassee and Leon County, and obviously the aid organizations that exist. Those are very, very helpful updates. For those who may lose internet connection or don't have it, we want you to know that we have also partnered with WFSU to provide radio updates to those who might need it. Currently, our website and social media accounts, we've got information on free charging stations, internet hotspots, shelter locations, helpful applications, apps for communicating outages, finding gas, and staying connected with our neighbors. And we're very, very appreciative of the presence here today of our university and college presidents, who you will also hear from. And we want to thank again all of our community partners who have so ably come to our community's aid as we prepare for this storm. You'll hear again from our city manager, but I want to reiterate that with tropical storm force winds and maybe even hurricane force gusts affecting this area, you can anticipate the loss of utilities. You can anticipate the loss of power, which is why we underscore the need to be prepared for 3 days to be able to take care of yourselves under a condition of loss of power. With that, I want to bring forward our sheriff for the Leon County area, Sheriff McNeil.
Thank you, Mayor. Well, good afternoon, and thanks to the Mayor and our Chair of the City County Commission, Chairman Daly. And I also want to thank the chiefs, our first responders from law enforcement, our paramedics, our firefighters, all of our emergency response team. We all know that this is going to be a long, arduous ordeal. We are monitoring this hurricane, and we remain in communications with our emergency management partners all across the state of Florida. The National Hurricane Center tells us this storm poses unprecedented threat to this state and a statewide danger. We take these warnings seriously. We in law enforcement are preparing for the worst and obviously hoping for the best. I have activated our command center at the Leon County Sheriff's Office. We've increased the number of deputies available to respond to emergencies. Our local first responding agencies are now also making plans to increase their response capabilities. Our deputies have begun working extended hours to assist those wishing to evacuate and to prepare. We will continue our elevated response to this threat as long as we need to. Because elevated winds are associated with this incredible storm, we now are in the process of putting together our debris removing teams, working with our partners in public works to make sure that we keep our roadways clear. There is an increased number of evacuees in our city, in our county, and we are monitoring those evacuees to the extent that we can to make sure that in our shelters, you can be assured, those of you going to shelters, that the Leon County Sheriff's Office will have deputies there to make sure that you are safe. Our primary mission during this time, during this storm, will be the safety of every citizen, every person in Leon County. We're working hard to make sure our community is as safe as possible. We're working tirelessly to assist citizens during our recovery efforts and our response and recovery efforts. No effort will be spared, none whatsoever, to protect our citizens from harm. Everyone is working strongly, working together, and we encourage all of our citizens, and you will probably hear every person here today say, we have to make sure that you are prepared. We are prepared, but we've got to make sure that you, our citizens, are prepared as well. With that, I'd like to turn it over to our County Administrator, Vince Long.
Thank you, Sheriff. Good afternoon, everybody. As our chairman said, the city manager and myself, we're going to drill down a little bit more on some of our operational details, but just please know that anything that we say here today in terms of the specifics, you can find on our respective websites. So let me just start with that. As you've heard from our emergency management director, from our chairman of the Board of County Commissioners, from our mayor, and from our sheriff, we urge our citizens to continue to take this storm seriously. Don't be fooled by the beautiful weather that we have outside right now. Again, if you live in a modular home, if you live in a mobile home, we have a voluntary evacuation that has been put in place. Again, we can provide more details on our shelter openings, and we'll do that. Again, I'll just mention for continuous real-time updates, go to our website, Leon County's website, as well as the cities of Tallahassee, and our emergency portals are activated, so you don't have to do anything more than that to get the information. Just go there. I want to take a few minutes to provide, again, some operational updates. Obviously, our preparation and communications plans have moved in the last 24 hours from primarily a hosting operation to a preparation and operational posture and emphasis here in our community. I want to assure the community that all of our partner agencies, as you can see from our presence here, we're taking an all-hands-on-deck approach to Hurricane Irma. Let me start with Public Works. From a Public Works standpoint at the county, we've been operating sandbag locations, as has the city of Tallahassee, since Wednesday morning, and those will continue until Saturday evening. Again, I'll refer you to the websites for the locations of those sandbag operations starting Sunday. And this is important, again, prior to the impacts that will be visited on our community from the hurricane. We will be embedding Public Works, 120 from the county side, 120 Public Works personnel. They'll be embedded again overnight in the outlying areas of the county, again, prior to the land impacts that we have here. They'll be embedded at schools, including Childs High School, Munford Middle School, Chairs Elementary School, Canopy Oaks Elementary School, Fort Braden, as well as Woodville Elementary. Crews, our Public Works crews will be operating on a 24/7 basis to clear our roads. Electric crews will be embedded with our cut and toss operations along our roadways. EMS first responders will also be assigned to the outlying areas of the county to ensure our quickest response possible. We've already been in contact with our debris removal contractors to support county staff, again, in our cut and toss operations. Please keep in mind that debris removal, and this is something that you've heard, both debris removal, cut and toss to clear roads, as well as power restoration, is a labor-intensive, time-consuming process. Again, so you've heard the mayor stress, again, the amount of time that people may be isolated in some cases in our community because of the specific vulnerability we have relative to our trees. We want to take special emphasis of that. While we have a voluntary evacuation for mobile homes, it's a family decision on whether you need to leave our community and come back after we have restoration. It's a family decision, and it's one that we would encourage in many cases, in particular if you live out on our canopy roads, because it could take quite some time, days we're talking about here. So just to set a realistic expectation. A couple of more things, folks, from an emergency response standpoint, similar to our road clearing crews, they are staged in our rural areas. Our ambulances, they'll be responding to all calls in the county. They are fully staffed 24/7. Once winds in our community reach 40 miles an hour, it would be no longer safe to respond to emergencies with our ambulances, so that's important to keep in mind. Comfort stations. After it's been determined that our roadways are safe and our power is available, our main library downtown, much like we did during Hurricane Hermine, will be activated as a comfort station. The main library is located at 200 West Park Avenue. In coordination with local area agencies, this comfort station will provide a place to cool off, assistance and information on storm recovery efforts, charging stations for electronic devices, food, public access to internet, computers, Wi-Fi, reading materials, etc. And again, the county's EIP includes a listing of the city's locations as well, which I'm sure the city manager will talk about. Rural distribution centers, a little bit different than comfort stations. When the roads are cleared, we'll be able to activate distribution centers for food and water and the essentials for people in the outlying areas of the county. Those rural distribution centers, again, will come online as conditions allow us to in the restoration effort. These centers, again, will provide the basic supplies of water, sanitary packs, light food, and we've been in contact with our state partners as well as retailers to make sure that we get the supplies that we need to our community. But as you can imagine, that's quite a prioritization process statewide at this time. Those distribution centers will be Woodville Community Center, Huntington Oaks Community Center, Fort Braden Community Center, Miccosukee Community Center, and the Chairs Community Center. Tourism and hosting. Leon County's Division of Tourism continues to coordinate with local hoteliers on occupancy and availability. Even with the football cancellation, all properties report at this time being fully occupied with extensive waiting lists. We will continue to coordinate with our industry partners and again make availabilities available on our EIP. In closing, again, I would just like to assure our community that Leon County, the City of Tallahassee, the Sheriff's Office, and all of our partner agencies who we're so happy to be joined with today are prepared, and we have an all-hands-on-deck, again, response to Hurricane Irma. For continuous real-time updates, again, please visit Leon County's website as well as the city's website. Our emergency portals are activated. You're going to get all the information you need there. And let me, at this point in time, bring up my partner and friend, City Manager Rick Fernandez.
Thank you, Vince. So the theme is preparedness, and we're asking the community to prepare. You've heard all your leaders and my leaders express those wishes, and all week long, our communications department has been promoting that message. If you haven't been getting it, please follow us on Twitter, Facebook. If you're a city customer, you have been getting messages, and if your information is not updated, please go to our website and update your information. It is extremely important. It's a wonderful way and a very effective way for us to communicate with you after the storm hits. The latest numbers we got is that we have a 50% chance of tropical storm winds and a 10% chance of hurricane winds. Neither one of those looks good. And the information hasn't been getting any better. So we've been preparing for this for over a week. The folks are still preparing. The chief of police, the fire police, and all your utility leaders are in a room right now finishing the details of the activation plan. As you know, we have a pre-storm plan, preparation, then a storm plan where we just basically sit down and wait, and then a restoration. And I can tell you the teams are ready. So during this week in preparation, our solid waste crews have been doing double duty and doing their scheduled work and then going to next week's work and trying to just make rounds and pick up whatever is out on the street to provide for a safe environment. We will have enough stuff coming up from the storm that we don't need any pre-staged missiles out there. Electric has been inspecting all our overhead circuits to see if there's anything that's threatening our lines, and dealing with them as they come along. We have backup generators at most of our water wells, and we have fuel plan. We have topped them all off. All the backup generators are ready to go. They've all been tested. And as things fail, they will come on, and we have a refueling plan in place for each one of our water wells. Our lift station, which is for the sewer to push it up the hill, if you will. We have backup generations on a large one. We have acquired a few for those that don't have it, and we have commitment for up more in case they fail. Obviously, these commitments of people and supplies are contingent on how hard the other folks hit. What's complicating this storm is the possibility of coming up the peninsula. And a lot of the folks that would normally just come help us will now be seeking help themselves. And we hope to be in a position of helping others so we're not having to deal with catastrophe here. We do have, as the mayor said, electric line crews from Louisiana, Ohio, and Nebraska committed to us, and we have contingent crews from a variety of other folks. And to our west, obviously, that looks good. The Louisiana crews will be here early. They'll be here Sunday before we get any bad weather, and we found them rooms, and they'll be stationed here. So after the storm goes through, they'll get embedded into our crews and get to work. The Ohio and Nebraska crews will be here right after the storm. So they're going to stage themselves in South Georgia or Southern Alabama, and then head on in right after the storm. So that process will start. Our crews, our tree crews, our street crews, they'll be embedded around the community, and we'll try to dig it out from in out and out in. That is our plan right now. So they'll be at the hospitals, our fire stations will be key, and then we'll hit it from both sides and trying to clear roads as soon as possible and make it a passable community. However, I mean, we urge you to stay out off the roads. I mean, we want the roads for our public safety, for our sheriff, for our TPD, and our crews to get us back up as a community. Once the storm hits, we'll assess the damage and begin our work. I mean, we will work them on a circuit-by-circuit basis and try to get us back up as soon as possible. We have made the decision this morning to close city offices on Monday. So to allow all those folks to do other things for the city that are also embedded in our recovery efforts to concentrate on the recovery efforts. So most of the city workers will be working, but our city offices will not be open. So please, I just urge you to stay off the roads, prepare, and stay safe. Thank you. And with that, I'd like to introduce my friend Rocky Hanna.
I guess they're breaking in the new superintendent of schools. First we have a solar eclipse, then a hurricane, and what's next? We met this morning. It's funny, I got the call last night at about 10 that there was no school today. And I thought, surely this is a hoax, some FSU kids trying to get out of a college exam, a chemistry test or something. And it was for real. And in looking at the big scheme of things, I think the governor did the right thing. Logistically, it was kind of tough for us to pull off, but we did it. And one of the first things I'd like to say, everybody just needs to stay calm. We're not trying to defuse an atomic bomb. We have a lot of people from out of town that are counting on us to host as community, as I've been in this community my entire life in Tallahassee and Leon County, and I know we'll rise to the occasion. City manager mentioned of models. I heard the same report he did. 5 in 10 chance of tropical storm winds, a 1 in 10 chance of hurricane force winds. And my first question is that the same model that had it in the Atlantic 3 days ago? Because we're preparing like the eye of that storm or what's left is coming right over Tallahassee. And I know you all as well. It's very serious. Having said that, looking at the timetable, it looks like the worst for Tallahassee is going to happen throughout the day on Monday. The governor called today and Monday for us, and we're going to go ahead and make the call on Tuesday as well for our students. We'll be making an announcement to our employees on Monday depending on the severity of the storm and how how we can get access to schools and facilities. So again, I urge everyone to stay calm, be a good neighbor, be a good Tallahassean. We're all here to help each other through this, and just like the Commissioner Daley said, and when it comes to the hoarding of goods and water and gas and those things, remember there are a lot of us that are trying to get through this very challenging time. So for all of our students out there, there's no school Monday or Tuesday. Parents, I apologize for child care issues. I see some groans already. And then we'll make a call later in the week about Wednesday and Thursday. And for our employees, we'll be making another announcement on Monday about getting in and trying to get our schools back up and running. So again, we ask for your patience. We're here to be a part of this team, which is very comforting. I had calls from the commissioner, from the city manager, from Vince. It makes me feel reassured that I'm not an island of one with our school system, that there is a lot of support. So that in and of itself is very comforting. Childs High School will be up and running as an emergency shelter at 2 p.m. this afternoon, and other facilities are on the list, and we're ready and willing and able to host guests and people who are going to evacuate their homes and can turn to our public schools for help. So with that, God bless everyone, and I think I'm going to bring up President Thrasher at this time. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much. Honored to be here. I feel a little bit differently, perhaps, than some of the folks that are here, the professionals who are involved in this. I just want to say that I feel very, very good about the preparation, the coordination among our city leaders, our county leaders, our law enforcement, and as beneficiaries of that for Florida State University, for myself, our faculty, our staff, and our 42,000 students, we're proud of that. We're proud of your work, Commissioner, your work, Mayor. Proud of our Vince, of all the great work that you all do, and Rick, you and Cynthia both. We're the beneficiaries of that, and I couldn't be prouder to be a part of Florida State University, but also to be proud of this community. And I hope that's what you take away from this. When you send this back to the folks in this community, let them know that this community is together, that we're working hard to keep people safe. We're certainly doing that at Florida State University. I know that President Robinson's doing the same at Florida A&M, and President Murtaugh at TCC. These kids are our first priority. But this community is strong, and you should be proud of the great leadership that these gentlemen and ladies are providing this community in this very critical time. I am. Again, I thank you on behalf of all of us at FSU for everything that all of you all have done to make our life a little better and a little safer, and certainly we're looking forward to preparing for the worst, but obviously hoping for the best and praying for the best from all of us. So as a person from Florida State, thank you all again, and thank our community leaders for the great leadership on this very difficult issue. It's my pleasure now to introduce my friend, my colleague, and somebody I admire greatly, the president of Florida A&M University, Larry Robinson.
Thank you, President Thrasher, and I too want to commend the city and the county for this coordinated effort that I think will do more than anything to get this community prepared and also lead to a much better outcome as Irma approaches this community. We all know how important it is to protect the citizens of this community and how important these students are to this community at both Florida A&M University, Florida State University, and of course Tallahassee Community College. I had an opportunity this morning to spend time with some of our students just to put it in perspective. I sat at a table in the lunchroom with about 8 students, and by God, I had students from Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Jacksonville, Orlando, and that one random city. So if you really want to talk about these universities and where our students come from, they are in fact Florida. And so what we are doing at our campuses as we prepare for these young people's safety and well-being, we're really talking about protecting Florida's future. Many of them had parents on the way, by the way. I don't know how they found it, but some parents actually found rooms here in Tallahassee. I think there was a brief window between the cancellation of the football game and the rebooking of those rooms, and I had a couple of parents that managed to get in. But they're counting on us, right? They're counting on us.